Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has responded to criticisms of the 2023 budget by the opposition. The Prime Minister joined the budget debate on Tuesday afternoon, where he told the opposition benches that the government is rooted in reality. The Prime Minister said the budget is only an estimate and $56 billion can only go so far. He took full responsibility of what is in the budget and said what the government is trying to do is to ensure that they fix the country's problems.
Even as we got some additional revenues, and we told the country how much it was, an additional 8.2 billion. We already spent in the last mid-year 2.67 billion of that. And I didn't hear any of them saying that we should not have made that intervention and spent that 2.7 billion because it was spent on the people. And we pointed out that what is left, how we spend it. $1 billion and a bit went into the Heritage Fund as the law requires.
The Prime Minister also sought to clear the air on a statement put out by the opposition leader about an event he attended last Saturday at Millefleur. Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar accused the Prime Minister of using taxpayers' money for roses and rosé champagne, but not for paying tax workers, none for the fuel subsidy, none for road repairs, none for subsidizing utilities, none for children's education, and none for senior citizens.
Madam Speaker, all I did was to accept an invitation to a function that was hosted by and funded by Angostura. As far as I know, Angostura is not the government or taxpayers' money. Angostura is a private company in which the government has an interest, and this has nothing to do with the government. And I, Madam Speaker, was simply an invitee to the function.
Meanwhile, Angostura Limited has also responded to the claims by the opposition leader. In a media release, Angostura says it hosted the closing ceremony for the Patriotism exhibition at Millefleur on Saturday, October 1st. The company says the function closed off a 5-week exhibition, which featured the private art collections of First Citizens Bank, Central Bank and Angostura, which were showcased at Stallmeyer's Castle, Whitehall and Millefleur, respectively. Angostura says the closing ceremony was a private function hosted by Angostura, and Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley was an invited guest and was asked by Angostura to deliver the remarks.
The Central Statistical Office will continue its work in the upcoming fiscal year. The assurance was given by Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development Penelope Beckles, who announced the continuation of surveys such as the Joint Household Budget Survey, which collects data on the living conditions of citizens. The CSO will also focus on rebasing the country's gross domestic product.
This is designed to obtain price and volume indicators necessary to rebase the GDP to more accurately reflect economic output. Madam Speaker, the rebasing project will allow for more accurate allocation of scarce economic resources by government's economic planners and greater accuracy in economic forecasting.
As day 4 of the budget debate continued in Parliament on Tuesday, Minister of Trade and Industry Paula Gopi-Skoon said the ministry intends to focus on diversification by maintaining trade relationships with various countries. During her contribution, Minister Gopi-Skoon said total exports have increased by 55% from 42 billion to 76 billion, adding that some of our trade partners include the USA, the EU and Jamaica.
It is our intention to work to minimize trade barriers. And in that regard, and that's a collective position, I think, in the region, because we want to make sure that we feed each other, right, and reduce that regional food import bill. I can tell you, you would have known that Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica would have signed a trade dispute mechanism to keep trade barriers and to a minimal number, and of course, to increase our exports intra-regional.
Minister Gopi-Skoon also revealed a notable increase in the non-energy sector occurred between 2020 and 2021.